Well, good morning and welcome to our new term of IDS 105. Today, I want to go over the work that you will complete in this first unit, Unit 1. There are three basic assignments for this week, and for many weeks, there are three basic assignments. And the way it normally goes, you will certainly have a discussion board each week. I want to quickly point out for this week, you have two discussion boards. This first one is just an informal introduction. I'd like you to do this. It's not graded. The graded discussion board is down here, and we'll get into that in a second. Before you get into this week's work, the thing that you need to do most is read through all this information on Blackboard Ultra, especially if you're relatively new. Even if you've had only one or two online courses, it's helpful to get through this, to look at a sort of a quick start guide for our students. The course information tab here, you can find information about me, the course syllabus, what I'm looking for in discussion boards. There's also in the course information tab a place where you can ask me questions. Now, these are things that you think that can be publicly shared. Uh, Email's obviously the best way to get a hold of me. If you have a private question or something that affects your grade, I can't discuss grades, obviously, or anything with you over the public forum. But if you have a question about an assignment or something that you think might be beneficial to all, so it might not be just you that's having a problem, go ahead and pop it in there for the Ask the Instructor, and I will get back to you as quickly as possible. You also have a hallway chat, which is just an informal place for you to chat with your classmates. Honestly, it doesn't get used much. I wish it did, but it doesn't really. And then there's some resources here. So some resource essentials on academic support, how to access the Writing Center. So a lot of times students in this class, they can feel the tension. It's a tough class. It's a difficult class, but Post University has support for you via the Writing Center and the Center for Academic Success. This is where you'll access the online library. So there's going to be an assignment later where you have to access outside research. This is what you're going to do. You're going to click through this. You'll log in with your post credentials and get there as well. Okay. So take a look, peruse through there, certainly read the syllabus and all that before you get into Unit 1. So for Unit 1, again, this first informal introduction, it's just to introduce yourself and then kind of talk a little bit. You can answer these questions here. It is not graded. It is not required of you to do that. I will monitor it. I will respond to you as well. But it's not something that you have to do necessarily. So we look at the objectives and activities for this week. You have four main objectives. The first one being to define interdisciplinary writing and its significance in academic and real-world contexts, identify and compare how different disciplines communicate knowledge, analyze genre conventions across fields, and demonstrate reflective writing through personal response to interdisciplinary materials. You have three graded discussions here, three graded assignments here. One is a discussion, one is a knowledge check, and one is assignment one. So, first and foremost, you have some reading and resources to get into. These are all links for you to click through. You want to read chapter 3, this part of chapter 2, and then these two books are going to be crucial for your week 1 assignment. You must choose texts from one of these two books. When you click on it, as I'm going to do here, you'll see that you get this screen. You click on this to log in with your post credentials. I'm not going to go through that with you, but that's how you get there, right? And so what you're going to do is you're going to choose two texts from one of, it can be from both. You can do one from one and one from the other, or you can choose two from the same. It doesn't really matter. And we'll go from there. But please do make sure you read through these sources, watch these videos. These are all things that are helpful. We do have two interactive activities. One is a review of FYE 140, and then the second one is sort of going to help you navigate the topics covered in this unit. These are not graded activities, but still good to do. Now for the three graded assignments. The first one is our Unit 1 discussion board, Who Owns the Truth? And so This topic is when different disciplines explore the same topic, their methods and conclusions often vary. For example, a psychologist and a historian might study human behavior, but their approaches to knowledge are different. So you're going to read a spotlight on variations of English in our textbook. Remember, that's found in here. Okay, right here, right here. Reading and resources, spotlight on variations of English. You're going to read that. And then you're going to consider what is valued as evidence and how the audience shapes the writing. And you want to use at least one quotation from that text. I will be looking at that. Um, that will determine your, that's a criteria for the discussion board, making sure you're quoting in there. In addition, use specifics from the textbook. Be sure to use an APA in-text citation for your quotation and an APA reference at the end of your post. And so that's what you're going to do. You're going to sort of consider what is valued as evidence and how the audience shapes the writing. It's sort of a discussion where you're going to read this text and then kind of, you know, tell me what you found. And then in your response to peers, you will suggest another discipline that could add value to their analysis and explain how that discipline might share the information with their target audience. Excuse me. My toddler brought home something from daycare, and I'm sick, of course. Summer sickness is the worst. A couple notes about due dates. Your initial post is due by Wednesday, and that's non-negotiable. So you need to make sure you're getting that done in the next couple days. And then your two additional posts are due by Sunday, your two peer reviews. Um, to fully get 100% on that, you need to complete both of those things on time. Okay. I'm not going to click on the knowledge check because you'll see some answers. So I'm not going to do that. Make sure you do that. Make sure you do the knowledge check as well after you've read through the material. And then Unit 1's assignment is a little different. You must make a video for this. Okay. The requirement is to submit a culture of video. If you don't know what that is, or you don't know how to make one, there is a quick start guide here on Blackboard Ultra. It's actually quite simple. Um, and I know a lot of you though have different experiences with technology. So it's not scary though. Read through this quick start guide. It'll show you how to do this, but you must do a video. Written assignments will not be accepted for this assignment. Okay, it has to be a video. Um, if you don't want your face to be on it, you don't have to. You can just record your voice. That's fine. I understand privacy concerns, all that. That's totally fine. You don't have to have your camera on for that, or you can have it faced at something else while you give the information, but you must do a video. Nothing else will be accepted. What you're going to do is you're going to choose two pieces from these books. So again, like I mentioned before, they can both be from the same book, or you can choose one from each book. It doesn't matter. You can choose to do two poems, two stories, a poem and a story. You'll find there's a variety of things in here. There's something for everyone. Okay. So you're going to create a video that explores how different types of writing can be used to communicate about the same issue, identity, or theme, which is, of course, the theme of this week. After you will use what you have reflected in the video to shape your week 2 comparative essay. So in other words, it's building towards the next work. So it's very crucial that you get this started this week. Okay, so it's a brief 1 to 2 minute video. You're going to reflect on these things. You're going to briefly introduce the two works after you've read them, including what you noticed and how well they grabbed your attention and interest. You're going to share your reaction to the two works and their messages, so your personal reaction. State whether the author's choices met the needs of the intended audience. All right, so you have to consider like who is the intended audience for this text. Consider whether the author was successful in conveying their message, why or why not. Discuss significant features such as symbols, imagery, writing style, and organization, and answer how are they utilized in the text. And after reviewing the PowerPoint and the readings and resources, again, up here, on rhetorical appeals and ethos, logos, and pathos, you want to consider how the stories and poems also appeal to logic, emotion, and credibility. And then finally, end with a reflection piece on how these ideas will help you write your essay, week 2 essay. I think it is very useful to write out a script first, something that you can read. So you're not, I don't find it useful. It is crucial that you write out a script of what you're going to say, making sure you're covering all of these bases before you try to go and record that video. Please get started on this assignment early. it's going to take you time. This is an online course. It is rigorous. It is challenging. It is meant to be so. This is a college class. You need to dedicate your time to finishing this, right? Um, my guess is that completing all of this, the readings and things, will take you probably 12 hours. That's a conservative estimate. I don't know how fast you read. If you're to do this right, you need to dedicate that amount of time to the course, especially if you don't know how to make a Cultura video. That'll take some time too. Um, Finding a text that works for you, reading those two texts, even though some of them are poems, still challenging. There's a lot to do here this week. Okay. I don't mean that to scare you, but I just want to set the tone early that this is a college class. Um, we're out of those first year experience courses. This is a more challenging course. Okay. But at any point during the week, if something is not clear, please email me immediately or submit to the Ask Your Instructor if you think it's useful, if it's something that the whole class can benefit from. Okay. And I will get back to you within 24 hours. All right. It's very imperative that you understand what you're to do this week and to get started early. Please do not hesitate to reach out. No question is dumb. Um, you know, if you any aspect of this you don't understand, please email me and I will help you get through it. Okay? That's all for the week. I'll check in with you midweek just to see how you're going. I'm looking forward to the both the introductions, the personal introductions, and also your engagement in the week one discussion board. All right. Have a great rest of your Sunday and have a great week. We'll talk again soon.